Welcome to this explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got an absolutely wild historical record to look at. We're talking about a distant, incredibly powerful queen who literally crossed the known world for one very specific reason. She was hunting for wisdom. So let's unpack exactly what went down, why it actually matters, and the surprising lessons kind of hiding in plain sight within her journey to meet King Solomon.
I mean, think about it. Why travel hundreds of miles for a rumor? In our world today, right, we probably wouldn't even walk down the street to verify one, because we've got instant information right in our pockets. But put yourself in the ancient world for a second. Imagine hearing this persistent whisper from passing merchants about a king who was so exceptionally wise, so profoundly insightful, that it just creates this itch in your brain you cannot scratch. It's the kind of compelling rumor that literally forces you to pack up a royal entourage, leave the comfort of your own kingdom behind, and trek across unforgiving terrain just to see if it's actually real. And that level of intense, burning curiosity, that's exactly what kicks off our story today.
Part 1. The Queen's Long Journey.
So let's just trace her exact steps here. Step 1. The news of Solomon's massive international reputation finally reaches her. But, and this is crucial, she doesn't just passively listen to it and, brush it off as some wild exaggeration. Instead, she moves right to step 2. She commits to a massive journey spanning hundreds of miles. And then, step 3, she arrives to test him. Listen, she is not a tourist snapping photos. She's a deeply curious intellect on a very specific mission, totally drawn in by a reputation that had actively crossed borders and entirely different cultures.
Part 2. Testing Solomon's Wisdom.
You see, she didn't come all that way just to pay her respects, drop off some standard gifts, or hash out a trade agreement. No way. She wanted to push his legendary intellect to the absolute limit with some seriously difficult questions. And to do this, she conducts this remarkably thorough investigation, actively assessing, well, absolutely everything. Yes, obviously, she observes his famous wisdom first and foremost, but she's also scrutinizing his magnificent palace, the pristine, almost flawless organization of his servants, and the sheer, jaw-dropping scale of his prosperity. She really wants to know if the actual structure of his daily life aligns with the legendary wisdom she'd been hearing about.
And the ultimate verdict of all that intense scrutiny? She is completely amazed, blown away. Whatever initial skepticism she might have packed with her on that long, dusty journey is just completely shattered by the reality of what she's seeing right in front of her.
Part 3. More than just rumors.
This realization, it basically flips everything she thought she knew upside down. I mean, she came expecting to find a really smart king, sure, but what she discovers completely alters her perspective. And her exact response brilliantly captures that all. She literally says, the reports did not even tell half the story. Just think about the sheer impact of that for a second. The over-the-top rumors that compelled a monarch to cross the world didn't even capture 50% of what she actually experienced in person. The living, breathing reality of Solomon's setup was exponentially greater than the legend.
Part 4. Influencing the Nations.
Now here's where it gets really interesting for us, because this historical event bridges directly into a profound core teaching. The key takeaway here is that God uses faithful believers to influence entire nations. Much like Solomon's God-given wisdom radiated outward to profoundly impact the Queen of Sheba, true wisdom, it's never meant to just be kept hidden away, right? It's fundamentally meant to change the world around it.
By looking at Solomon's spectacular example, we get this direct, everyday application. People should see God's glory through our lives. When the queen looked at Solomon's wisdom, his well-cared-for servants, and his peaceful prosperity, she wasn't just looking at a great administrator. Ultimately, she was seeing a reflection of the divine. The way we live, the wisdom we display, and exactly how we structure our own lives, it should be that exact same kind of visible, undeniable testament to the people around us.
Part 5. Someone greater than Solomon.
And this narrative absolutely does not end in the ancient world. It points directly forward. Jesus later makes this incredibly powerful, frankly audacious claim regarding this exact historical event with the Queen of Sheba. He states that someone far greater than Solomon had finally arrived, and that person is Jesus Christ himself. He's essentially positioning himself as the ultimate living embodiment of the divine wisdom that the Queen traveled so incredibly far to find.
Part 6. The danger of admiration.
But wait, before we wrap up, we have to look at the immediate historical aftermath of this absolute peak of prosperity. Because, well, a very dark, ominous cliffhanger is gathering here. The world's admiration actually becomes Solomon's greatest temptation. The very international acclaim that brought the Queen of Sheba to his doorstep dangerously mutates over time. What started as this beautiful testament to God's glory slowly twists into a massive spiritual vulnerability.
His absolute greatest success becomes the very thing that threatens his entire foundation.
Which leaves us with a really vital question to chew on. Will the world's admiration ultimately become the catalyst for his catastrophic downfall? We're seeing how the highest peak of a believer's success can suddenly, almost without any warning, become their absolute greatest spiritual risk. So, how do you handle it when the world applauds you? It's a pretty sobering question to carry with you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to explore more with you next time.